You're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you.
Yes. Okay, so they can hear you but not see you just as of yet.
Okay. Did you see my last message? Wait,
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave.
Yes, no problem that you need to check the door whatsoever.
Okay. And
I love what you're wearing. You look
oh,
dashing.
let me put on the headphone. I forgot. Wait, I have it right here. We're gonna start at 3, right? That's what I'm planning on.
Yep, 3. You're 3, my 6.
Yeah, in 8 minutes. Oh, 7 minutes.
I'll take
Good
your.
to meet you. Good to talk to you.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
there you go.
they'll hear our conversation. Can you see me?
No, I see the screen. I see the I see the share screen with the logo.
Oh, why? There we go. You can see me?
So good to see you.
Me too. Oh, look at.
So happy. What are you wearing? Let me see. Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
There's this
Oh, sad. Yeah. Oh my God. And what's that? Can't really.
This is like a Louboutin with like a broken police cruiser and the like.
Oh yeah. Wow. Is that from a movie, Prowling, or anything? No, that's just a similar thing. You know that movie Prowling? That's by a Canadian.
I do.
Best movie ever.
This is from. I'm gonna turn off the labels.
Oh, Jelena.
Jelena, actually.
Jelena. See, I'm glad I asked. Okay, Jelena. And no, okay. So I still have 6 whole minutes. I get to get up and walk around. Oh, but look at my necklace. Little beautiful
umbrellas.
Okay, so we'll have to. I'm very proud of that. My mother makes them. Okay, I'll be right back.
No problem. We'll see you in a bit. I'm gonna put the music back on. Stay tuned, everybody, for Scarlot Harlot. Carol Lee, also known as Scarlot Harlot.
Oh well, I guess we're. We have 4 more minutes, right?
Yeah. So
okay. So okay, and now it's so crazy. I have to follow my driver. It's so great, but I'll just be like, I'll relax. So maybe we won't do as much in the beginning, and we'll do more in the end or something.
I was thinking of doing a little bit of a preamble for everybody watching right now. Carol's just gonna get a delivery of medication, so she'll just be ducking in and out, which is no problem. And I was gonna read a preamble from the Global Network of Sex Work Projects. Their article about you coining the term sex work and talking about the couple of books that sort of, including this one, that solidified those terms, and talking about your own book. Wanting to plug some of these titles in as well as we can. So I'm really honored to actually interact with you. Considering COVID makes it seem like I'm never going to go to the States again. But yeah, I am really honored that you wanted to participate. Really, really appreciate that you allowed like an edit of your film, which is excellent, and that we could do something for Take Back the Night that reclaims, a lot of like the erasure that happens for sex workers as victims of sexual violence and as people who make autonomous choices for their sexuality or for any other part of their life with agency. And yeah, so
Well, can I say I'm on, right, too? Or am I? I'm confused about this. But anyway, thank you. Thank you for editing this. I mean, I had a great time working with you on this, and it came out a fascinating piece. It's not, and I'm so excited about working with you, and this is a great opportunity. And I'm a Canadian wannabe, too, besides all that. So.
That's so cute. I always thought I'd be good as like a dual citizen or something like that. Not that borders are stupid, but in the world of reality, it would be cool to have all of North America or most of North America to my disposal. So I'm just gonna start off because we're right before 3 for you and 6 for me. Just reading the preamble. So I'm gonna share my screen. Just 1 second here. And I'm going to show people so the history of the term sex work. This is an entry from the I think you can see that, Carol. Can you see that on your screen?
Oh, yes.
Perfect. Okay. So this is an entry from the Global Network of Sex Work Projects, which is based in Europe. Carol Lee coins the term sex work. In her essay, Inventing Sex Work, which appears in the anthology Whores and Other Feminists, edited by Jill Nagel, which is this book right here. I think I can share that as well. It is this book, Whores and Other Feminists, by Jill Nagel. Going to continue reading that. Carol Lee, aka Scarlot Harlot, wrote that in 1979 or 1980, she attended a conference in San Francisco by Women Against Violence in Pornography and Media. She had intended to be a sort of ambassador to this group, educating feminists about prostitution. However, she discovered that the workshop on prostitution included the phrase sex use industry. The word stuck out and embarrassed me, she wrote. How could I sit amid other women as a political equal when I was being objectified like that? Described only as something used, obscuring my role and as actor and agent in the transaction. Lee suggested that the title be changed to sex work industry, and that prioritized the work of the provider rather than the customer. This term stuck, and Lee used it in her one-woman play, Adventures of Scarlot Harlot, which she began performing in 1980. According to Bay Swan, the NSWP member group Lee co-founded, the earliest documented use, i.e. printed in mainstream media, of the term sex worker as it is currently used was found in an article from the Associated Press Newswire from 1984 about the use of this term in her theatrical production. Sex work came into a more common use with the 1987 publication of this book, Sex Work, Writings by Women in the Industry, edited by Frederique Delacoste and Priscilla Alexander. Since then, it has been adopted by health agencies and advocacy organizations around the world, and its use is increasingly used by the mainstream media. The usage of the term sex work marks the beginning of a movement, Carol Lee wrote in her essay, acknowledges the work we do rather than defines us by our status. So I love that. One thing I wanted to reflect on with that, because I reread your pardon me, the few paragraphs in Jill Nagel's book, and you mentioned linguistic advocacy, which I thought was, I am so privileged to live in a world as a 20-something-year-old that sex work was just the term. It was already given. It was already available, right? So I didn't live in a paradigm where I couldn't identify with the economic activities that were happening. And I think, thank you for bringing that to the forefront.
Oh, wow. That's exciting. I guess nobody's ever told me that before. I never.
Yeah.
Of course. Yes.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Happy to be here. So, without further ado, should we begin the screening of the film?
Oh, that would be a good idea because my medication is about to be delivered. So then we can talk after.
Fantastic.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much.
Awesome. I'm just going to mute both of our microphones and change it over to the film.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. I was just told that the audio is muted, so that is my apologies. I am learning with this streaming service, so I will restart it right now. Apologies. It's only an 11-minute video, so I hope that everybody has the time to still see the whole thing. My apologies.
We're all sex workers, and we came down here. Hopefully, it won't be to counter protest. If it comes to that, I guess that's what it will be. But we don't believe that violence against women is perpetuated through pornography, and that censorship in the name of protecting women isn't actually protection at all. In fact, it's when it's done in the guise of protecting women against violent sexual imagery, a lot gets cut out, including women's sexual voices. There's a groundswell of female-produced and feminist-produced pornography these days that's also getting silenced by censorship. And we came down here to say that we're sex-positive sex workers and that we do it, we're not coerced into it, and it's a fun, if only part-time living for us, and that we're not manipulated or twisted by some misogynist culture, although we do live in a misogynist culture to be sex workers, and for us it's a positive experience.
Everybody says, yeah? Well, I'm a big prostitute. I've been a prostitute in the city for 15 years. Women are saying they came here today kind of nervous that Take Back the Night, which has a history of, say, not doing outreach to prostitutes, right? There's this sort of a history there. So people have come kind of wondering, and I don't know, I was invited specially, so I'm happy. So and I'm a prostitute, right? Prostitute, I get paid for sex. Okay. What about some other sex workers here?
When you say something's degrading towards women, it puts women in like in a really weak position. I don't think that you can. There's no possible way to degrade women. You can't. You have to allow yourself to be degraded. And so I don't believe that, you know, being naked in front of people is degrading to women or is anything. You can do whatever you want. You need to allow yourself to be degraded in order to be degraded.
You know, I feel degraded constantly in this culture. I'm feeling very degraded, you know, being really a big woman, and I'm 40. I'm going to be 40 like next month. I just feel like, you know, it's like life is one big degradation. So the prostitution sometimes, for me, it's expressed aspects of that. But, you know, on the other hand, we all get power from it. And anybody else want to talk about like sex work? And
like working in the sex industry has given me like a new perspective on my body and my sexuality that's been really positive and good, and meeting all these wonderful, intelligent women in the industry has really changed my attitude about pornography and the sex industry. I've been dancing for almost 2 years now, and it's one of the best things I've ever done. I feel it's really been good for me. It's been great for me to express myself in that way.
yeah, prostitution's actually really been good for me, but now it's getting like not good. It's getting like one of those things that, you know, I want to have a different job or something, but I still love being a prostitute. It's just maybe doing it less. It's hard in some way, I find. I don't know. What's the hardest thing?
The hardest thing about dancing?
Or about like the getting along with people and having to tell people or anything. The hardest thing about the whole shtick.
The hardest thing for the whole shtick for me is when people are saying to me, you know, that's degrading to women, or, you know, my mother said that to me when I first started, and I was really torn about it. I was like, oh, well, yeah, the feminists do say that's degrading. Is it degrading to women? Is it not degrading to women? No, I you know, I have no problems with it.
Better watch that Scarlot Harlot face. In the wink of an eye, girl, you could see. I never did believe that it would happen to me. I would be swept away in constant kind of the country free. You won't look in my eyes, cause it's much too bad, but you say we be. I bet you feel safe when the ball is out of me. Girl, you don't know.
Think about this, Helen, as you're doing that.
I totally agree with these women. I really totally agree with these women. I hate violent pornography. I just hate what it does to women. And I know it's a big debate in San Francisco, but as far as I'm concerned, this stuff is hate literature, you know.
What do you think we should do with it?
I think we should expose it wherever we can, you know, like they're doing right here. I think this is a great way
What do
to
you think about the women that pose for these things?
I think they're traitors to their sex. That's what I think, you know.
Hey, ho, ho. The patriarchy has got to go, but sex lives on, okay? What's your hair? Prostitutes are everywhere. Prostitutes are everywhere. And may I ask, where are you tearing these papers up?
What?
Where are you tearing these papers up?
Pornography.
It's pornography.
Right.
And so you're tearing it up.
It's because exercising my right to freedom of speech.
Right here on Haight Street. Are you doing this right on Haight Street?
14th Amendment.
Are you exercising your free speech?
I oppose eroto misogynistic literature. It harms women. It promotes femicide.
totally against the notion of feminists for pornography, but I was sorry I taunted them in the beginning because it's something to be talked about between us and among us and not to be fought about between us. It's to fight with men about.
Everyone knows that. We set it up.
The only way to get them to stop raping and killing is to fight them. You don't ask them, you don't say please. You might educate them, but that's not going to work for a while, so you got to fight them.
Rapists? That's asinine.
Not all men, most men.
You're lumping them into one song, though, right?
Well, there does tend to be this pattern, you know, like 90% of the women killed are killed by men. You know, it's just a pattern. It is a useful generalization. No, not every single man is a rapist.
Got over there.
Yes, I have. Yeah, and I also know that one of the first things fascist governments do is introduce pornography in massive amounts into their countries. So I think those statistics are, you know, I don't know exactly what all of them mean, but they say contradictory things. And I don't think that's where the crux of the issue is in the statistics.
Well, I really do agree that a lot of pornography that's out today is really lacking something, but I think there's a lot of room for people to open that whole area up, and censorship is not going to allow it to happen.
You having a good time? Oh yeah, this is great. This is my first time I went to one of these. But it's good. It's good. What do you think about pornography? People here too. What do you think about pornography? I don't do it myself. Have you ever looked at a pornographic magazine? Yeah, I do once in a while. Mostly through my boyfriend. I bought a Playgirl once in a while. How was it? But as long as they have guys, I think it's well. Guys do it, girls do it, then it's all right.
It's a major discussion that feminists have not dealt with very well, and until we resolve the issue, find a way to deal with sexuality and sexual imagery, we're going to end up stymied and at a dead end. I think it was a mistake for feminist movement to take on an anti-pornographic slant. What we need to do is reform or transform those images, not try to eliminate them from society. We need sexuality. We need an honesty about sexuality. And that's what's missing. We're too hypocritical about what we want, what we need, and what we do. And the images so often are only a reflection of that. As we change, so will the images.
You think we're going to have less rape and less violence against women in the future? What do you think? I mean, just guess. What do you think? No, you say no? No less. What do you think? Do you think there will be less violence against women and rape in the future? Do you believe there's a chance?
Yeah, if we make ourselves more visible. We need more men involved. Yeah.
Well, I thought men weren't invited.
They're not invited.
Sure.
No,
Well,
absolutely. They weren't invited. No, I think it was very important for us all to be here alone tonight because you don't need men to protect us, and if we are all together, then we can make it.
So everybody thinks there's like a small chance, though, that really there could be less violence. Do you think that we're evolving towards a more humane consciousness on this planet?
I'm hoping so. I think things are really, they come up and down, and we're working for it. We've all just got to remember that you can't stop trying to make it happen.
Do you think we'll ever have maybe less violence against women, less rape?
I think if women come out in demonstrations like this and come together and unite, yes, there will be less violence.
To this eroto-misogynistic speech or whatever ruins women or whatever it is. What defines eroto-misogyny? I'd like to know. If you find male-produced pornography so offensive, go produce your own. That's what I did, and it's not that fucking hard. It really offends me, really, really badly, to the point where I'm losing my glasses.
All right. So I hope everybody enjoyed that. That was pretty powerful, I'd say.
Yes, thank you for this edit. Really, I mean, this is really, it was so meaningful to me, and I loved how you edited those excerpts together, and it was really a profound experience for me to see it this way. And thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
Oh no, now I can't hear you.
Oh, did I? 1 second.
Now I hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Now I don't.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Might just be a lag. I'm trying.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay.
No
so
okay, perfect.
Question for you. In the video, you said you were specially invited to Take Back the Night, and I am curious who invited you to take that.
Of course, I don't remember, but I remember. The organizers. I was always very involved with everything. I don't know if you can tell by this, but it was only a certain contingent that was anti-porn. I mean, there was I don't know about, but I think then in those days, people weren't really educated about the issue so much, so they might have just assumed an anti-porn stance.
Exactly.
So, but I felt weird when I saw that, because it's just, I mean, it was kind of a sarcastic thing. I was kind of making fun of myself because I was saying, oh, well, I'm invited. It does, like, I don't care. I think I was being sarcastic about myself, because I didn't really mean, well, I was invited, but it kind of came out that way. And seeing this is so emotional for me. I mean, just imagine going into that crowd, and here's all these people. And of course, I take it completely personally. I mean, I'm involved in everything, in porn, prostitution, So for me, there are these people that are like attacking my very being, and I have to
a gender traitor.
Excuse me? Yeah. And that woman, guess what? I didn't even know she felt that way. And she was a friend. She was somebody in the activist circles that I got along with. And I saw, as an activist and journalist, sometimes it was hard for me to challenge people on the spot. And when I watch all this, I must have sort of just realized I just didn't challenge people. And I watch it, and of course, you can imagine I feel self-critical for times I didn't say back, what, and argue with them. But I think that it was really hard for me. I guess that isn't one of my strengths. I mean, there's a lot of activists now who would certainly be able to talk back. But even, the woman who was tearing up the porn, I mean, she was saying extremely offensive things, and I just made it into a joke, which, I mean, you could just tell the whole thing was just really intense for me. And also watching it and looking at my strategy, it's really hard to watch.
Well, I will say, you may feel critical of your journalism, but Al Donato, I'm just bringing up this comment on the feed here again. They did say that this is really excellent journalism, and that they loved how many of the chants you did catch. So I think, from an objective, younger perspective, they feel that was excellent journalism. And I also think that there is something to be said about not challenging people who have those controversial opinions. Like it's more sincere, and I think, and genuine when you catch them in their blunt responses than if you coddled it out of them or somehow teased it out of them. So I think the film did an excellent job of really showing how sex workers are, because Take Back the Night, as we know, is about commemorating safety for women, and essentially commemorating how much violence has been caused against women, how much we've been targeted, harassed. The Montreal Massacre, I know, was a huge thing it happened the year before that this film was taken by you, and so that was a huge topic at the time, and still is in Canada. And I feel that there's this idea that sex workers can't be victims of rape, just like perhaps wives couldn't be victims of rape in certain people's beliefs. And I love how you challenge the narrative, and to be called a gender traitor when really it's about class relations at the end of the day, more so than gender relations.
Yeah, you're breaking the strike if it was like a Lyssa Strata thing where you're only supposed to have sex with men if they're nice to you, which people don't do anyway. Then if I have sex instead because they give me money, then maybe, I don't know. I mean, that's what I might have, those are the kind of ideas I tossed around in my mind when I was developing my politics in the 70s. And so those were the kinds of things.
And I feel, is there anything that you could say to sex workers of, you know, a younger generation or people who might enter sex work in the future, as far as how they might think about their work? Do you have any sort of words of wisdom?
About sex work, about how they might feel about how they might what might empower them to get through sex work and to make sense of the oppression and their feeling of wanting to change things.
You got it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I do that a lot. I mean, I love to, I have 4 daughters and I always talk to them all the time. And I advise them on very personal levels. And the truth is, I really emphasize taking care of oneself. And I'm very concerned about the activists more, you know, so I guess those are the people I'm thinking of, the activists who are trying to make changes. And I feel like they need to really watch and see when it's just getting too hard and learn ways, develop ways for us to take care of the trauma in our community. I feel like that's important in the agenda. So that's something that I feel like will be developed in the long range. And but that's what I'm hoping. As far as their work, I mean, that it's hard because there's so much diversity and experience, and mine is certainly, you know, I mean, I did work 25 years, but that and in a few different ways, but right. I don't even come close to even knowing about any kind of, you know, I mean, there's so much diversity of experience, so I would have a hard time. There's one thing I want to mention here. I love the titles, but there's something you didn't get that's so cute, and I want to say it right now.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, you're going to love it too. Grab your makeup, fix your hair. Prostitutes are everywhere. Isn't that the best? I love that one. It works with sex workers too, because now everybody always wants to use it. But it worked. It has more syllables than prostitutes. Grab your makeup, fix your hair. Prostitutes are everywhere.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
That's the best ever.
I did the subtitles and I noticed that some of the formatting was wonky, so that was my bad. But I'll fix it. And
it was all perfect. It was great. I mean, it was so beautiful. What an endeavor that you did that.
I think it's really important to have subtitles on the films, specifically when it comes to, you know, archiving our history and making.
Oh my God.
Making people realize that like, you know, just making people realize in Outlaw Poverty, Not Prostitutes, at the end when Gail Peterson talks about like we don't really have a lot of differences between each other and that we have a lot more in common, and like a lot of these separation and segregations are imposed artificially, and I think that like the same goes with our understandings of labor relations, class relations, and a lot of our history you know, isn't accessible. And that's why, you know, as Swap Hamilton, we're trying to do the library for ebooks and zines and academia and podcasts and sex work videos. And so this is an incredibly important contribution, and I'm so happy that you were a part of it. So
I'm so happy, and I have so many videos too, and I've documented all so extensively. Like what is Sex Worker Media Library has all the links.
Right.
So and I have a lot in the can that I'd love to get out to the world too, but not that. But there's a lot that's not in the can. So
for sure.
I mean, really a lot. So I really appreciate it. I really appreciate this.
Thank you for being a part. I won't keep you because I know you have things to do, and it's just coming up to the half-hour mark almost. So I'll let you go if you want. I'll say a couple of closing words, and someone had another comment. Watch those all the time. Yeah, apparently, see, you have fans across the world.
And you know what's good? Like, I think the best to watch is like the sex work, the library that's part of the Sex Worker Fest, because that has like, I don't know how many I put up there so far. That has like maybe 100, 200 or something. I'm not sure how many, but
So
videos from other people. And so that is a collection of other people's work. And it's just, that's really a good place to get educated about sex worker rights.
Oh, I completely agree. Well, Carol, it was an honor. Just as a reminder, if people are interested in doing some reading, they can, you know, figure out how to get a copy of this book, hopefully not from Amazon. Sex Work, Writings from the Women in the Sex Industry, second edition, edited by Frederique Delacoste and Priscilla Alexander. And we have a copy of Carol Lee's, aka Scarlot Harlot's book. I'm trying to get the glare out of the way. It's just beautiful. I have to say, the pressing of this book is very beautiful. It's full photographic quality, like paper. I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but just, you know, it's very high quality print, and the images are high quality. It's a combination of all your, well, I wouldn't say all of your, because you are inimitable, but a very large collection of your art and performances and theatrical advocacy and activism throughout the years. Is there anything else, would you say, it includes that I'm missing?
No, that's it. Everything.
Yeah. So
collaborations with so many wonderful artists, political artists. So.
Yeah. So I encourage people to try and get copies if they can online. And again, thank you, Carol, so much for participating.
Thank you so much.
I
thank
love
you all viewers, wonderful viewers. This has been so fun for me. Thank you.
And just bringing it back to Take Back the Night, sex workers can be victims of sexual violence, and also sex workers' work decriminalized now, not legalized. The state becomes the pimp if you legalize. And yeah, people don't want sex work to be decriminalized because we have more agency over our work than most workers do. So thank you so much, Carol. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Okay. Now, do I do something or you do it?
You're totally fine. It's been an honor.
I did sit here. Okay. Thank you.
Have a great night.
Okay.
Bye.
Mwah.
Okay, everybody. Elvira just turned 69. This is what I do through. He was like, he couldn't stop chasing me.